Hello. Today for the podcast opening, we have a special guest. Everyone say hello and goodbye to Rosie. Our actual guest on the podcast today is someone who I honestly just describe as a complete and total badass. I am talking about Bo Shepherd, the co-founder of Woodward Throwbacks. We went to Bo's home in Detroit to record this episode. Her and her partner are renovating it while they live in it, and it is just absolutely art. If you guys know us well, my husband and I, you know that we are also renovating the home that we live in. And that just, touring her house just made me feel really bad about it because her house is absolutely gorgeous, but as it should be, because she is an interior designer. And that is a big focus of what today's episode is all about. Today, we are diving into how Bo and her partner created Woodward Throwbacks, which, if you don't know, is a sustainable furniture and interior design company that creates using materials that oftentimes someone else is throwing away. So we are talking about old liquor store signs. We're talking about pieces of abandoned buildings in Detroit. We're talking about church pews at times. It is really, really cool. Whether you are a creative, a dreamer, or just someone who loves working on their house, this episode is a must listen. All right, just to get us started, Bo Shepherd, welcome to Water Your Garden.
Thanks for having me. I'm so excited.
Of course, I'm so excited. I think you know, I've been a fan of yours for a long time, so I'm excited to long form hear more of your story.
Yeah, I feel like I have a long story, so hopefully you have some time.
We had all the time in the world. We're good to go. Okay, so for those who don't know, you are the founder of Woodward Throwbacks based in Detroit. So cool. Just tell us a bit about your origin story and how all this came to be.
Oh my goodness. So I'm from the East Coast originally, and I moved to Detroit in 2008. I went to college of creative studies for car design. So believe it or not, I was a car designer at GM for 5 years. And I feel like when it comes to Woodward Throwbacks, it really was a passion project. It wasn't something that I had set it out to do because I felt like I had my dream job. And then I very quickly noticed after having the creative freedom working with my partner, Kyle, that I was like, wow, there's something, special here. And one thing led to another. I'm walking out of General Motors and I'm doing Woodward Throwbacks full time with my partner. Oh. And yeah, it was a struggle for sure. But I feel like the journey has been really fulfilling and we've grown so much. So much. It's kind of wild to be like, oh my God, and now we're here.
It's crazy. I mean, what did you guys start doing? What was it that you and Kyle were doing that launched all of this?
So when we started the concept, before Woodward Throwbacks was really Woodward Throwbacks, we were biking around the city of Detroit. I feel like Detroit is such a unique space. And definitely back then, it was 2014, illegal dumping was such a really bad issue in the city where homeowners, contractors, you name it, they were, throwing material on the street from construction jobs. So us being on a budget, we started collecting materials and making shelving, making coffee tables for our own home.
Yeah.
One thing led to another. We had a friend commission us to build him a coffee table. And then we're like, all right, this could be profitable, but let's make a product. So we actually started selling at Eastern Market, which is our local farmers market, if you're local.
Yes.
And we started selling bottle openers and these wooden signs that said, had Detroit pride, slogans. And it was a huge success. We quickly got into Nordstrom's. We wholesaled for Target.
I feel like you glossed over that.
I know.
To get into Nordstrom's,
I kind of do. I'm a glosser. If
I was designing, I can't imagine that big of a name. Like you said, that happened quickly?
It happened really quickly. Yeah. And
how quickly?
It was probably within the first 6 months.
What?
Yeah. And
That's
we were
crazy,
doing this out of our house. We were doing this out of our house. And it was kind of like our inner joke where it's like, I wonder if we would have got this wholesale account if they knew that we were building in our our garage and screen printing in our basement and packaging in our living room. The hustle was so real. And I thank you for saying I shouldn't gloss over it because it's
big.
It is kind of big.
How did they reach out to you?
So we did a Kickstarter. Kickstarter in order to raise money to buy a workshop because, even though it was only 6 months, maybe 9, who knows? My dyslexia is getting the best of me. Working outside of your home, at times it gets a lot. There's dust in places that there shouldn't be dust.
Oh, absolutely.
So we
Yes.
were like, all right, we need to get out of this space just so we can grow. And yeah, they saw our Kickstarter. At that time, we were on Facebook. I don't even think we were on Instagram. But yeah, we've been really fortunate that the presence that we had put out into the universe, the right people were seeing it.
Okay. So that's the initial bread and butter. You guys are taking pieces from Detroit history, you're turning it into furniture. You've been doing this for years now. Is there a piece of material that you've worked with that has an insane story that stands out to you?
I mean, that's kind of hard because it's one of those things where, when you're dealing with reclaimed materials or salvaged materials, I think the first thing that comes to mind is like reclaimed wood. And while we do use wood, we use metal, stone, acrylic. I mean, behind us in our living room, we have a credenza made out of bulletproof glass that came from a liquor store. And, before we built that, we did a whole collection of furniture called the Party Store Collection, where we took like liquor store signs, like Detroit liquor store signs that said beer, wine, EBT, and we made these custom credenzas. So it's really about the materials that we're able to source at that period of time that we kind of become mad scientists and be like, all right, how can we cut this? How can we manipulate it? So there's really not just one material. It's kind of everything because we're constantly, when we see salvage, we just see it as material that can be manipulated. And like, what can we build from it?
We're in your home right now, which I'm obsessed with. It's so gorgeous. It's a work of art. Something, we're living in a house right now that we're renovating, and I'm trying my best to design it as we go. Something that's very difficult for me is figuring out how to mix and match different types of wood and materials and still maintain a theme, not have it look like scattered and crazy.
Yeah.
You are an expert at this. For someone who is working on their house, what is your advice for using different types of wood, different types of marble or quartz?
I always say, well, when it comes to design, there's no rules. And I think we get so pigeonholed, and then also we get so like inspired by the trends. And I think sometimes trends, it actually takes away our own like creative, spirit. Like you might not say that you're creative when it comes to interior design, but like you do have an artistic ability. So it's really about what do you gravitate to, and what's going to bring you joy? What's going to make you feel what you want to feel when you enter your home? So when it comes to wood, because that's actually a common question, is never try to match your floors. It's going to be so impossible to match the same stain color as your floors, because if you think about it, it's not just, you can buy the same stain, but the wood, if it was, let's just say 100-year-old growth wood versus wood that you buy at like a mill yard that is, from a 3-year-old tree, the grain pattern and texture and the way that it absorbs the stain is going to be completely different. And so I always say, have like a higher percentage, let's just say 70% medium tone wood, but then add contracts. Like if you actually look at my house, I have lighter wood, I have darker wood, I have kind of all of the spectrum. And I think it's just creating the primary, the secondary, and then your accents. And that's how you mix wood.
I've been working more at establishing a color palette, which has helped me. Maybe that's opposite of what you just told me to do. I struggle though I go back and forth. I really like a natural feel.
Okay.
So at times I like a ton of wood and a lot of natural with pops. I love warm colors. So I love a lot of red, yellow, orange, green. Like that to me is very rich. But then other times I find myself getting a little preppy. I like Mackenzie Child-esque things. I like some floral and stuff like that. So sometimes I struggle anthropology with mixing all of those things. I mean, is there a point where you need to establish a bit of a theme, or are you saying just go with what your heart tells you?
These all the flag come my nose.
I did see that.
What's it called? So again, we actually wrote a book called Throwbacks Home Interiors. That is our inspirational, it's our inspirational guide to designing with vintage, salvage, and, mixing and matching styles. And for us, just because you live in a Victorian home does not mean you have to mix it with all Victorian things. So again, it's just really getting into that mindset of does this bring me joy? Do I love the way this looks? But I say, of course I say no rules, but like the rule of thumb is, start with your walls. If you want to keep things lighter, minimum, do a nice creamy white. And then make it kind of like art gallery style, where then you can introduce all of that color. And then those pieces, those colors become the star of the space. But yeah, it's like, I wouldn't say paint every single wall in your house a different color. Maybe keep that more on the minimum size. So the things that you fill it, those become, the stars.
No, that's a good tip.
Yeah.
I have been working at that a bit. Okay. As an expert in sourcing materials, what is your advice to people who are fixing up their house right now or trying to add another room on a budget? Like, what would you say is a good way to go about that?
Ooh, okay. So if you are renovating a space and you're on a budget, one, I feel like having your budget, the number, like what you don't want to spend is like so crucial. I have so many people come to me. It's like, oh, I want to do this. I'm like, okay, well, how much do you want to spend? Like, oh, we don't really know. And I'm like, well, there's no way to start if you don't know like what you can actually spend. And for me, where is going to be where you spend all your money, or where are you going to save and where are you going to splurge? So for instance, like in our kitchen, I would say our kitchen actually was kind of more on the budget side. So
Really?
yeah, well,
That island's insane.
okay, well, see, the one thing that I'm very blessed with is that we have a whole workshop. So it's like my team, I designed it and my team built it. But if I had paid an outside source, yeah, I don't think I could afford my island. To tell
That's
you
like
the
our whole
truth.
house. I can't imagine what our house would cost if we had paid someone
Yeah.
versus done it ourselves.
Exactly. And
Yeah.
as much as I'm like, hey, hire me, it's like I feel like I'm the type of person where I do want to give people confidence in using their hands. So like, again, if you're on a budget, you hire someone to do X, Y, and Z, and then maybe you paint the walls yourself. You don't have to hire it out. So going back to my kitchen, for our main cabinets, we use RTA, which is ready to assemble cabinetry. It's definitely higher quality than like Home Depot, actually maybe a little bit higher quality than IKEA, but still IKEA is a great budget friendly option. And then we went custom when it came to our floor to ceiling cabinet. So, and same thing with our hardware. I got my hardware from Rejuvenation, so she was a little pricey, but I was able, within the budget that I had, picked and choose where I wanted to splurge and where I wanted to save. I think that is like the best step to doing any renovation project.
The kitchen, your cabinets, the custom ones, you guys, they are my dream. It's exactly, hopefully manifesting for us this year is the year we do our kitchen. I don't know. Connor's looking at me. We got a lot going on. I'm hoping.
Happen.
And the kitchen cabinets are exactly what I want. You said that those are made out of church pews.
They're made out of church pews.
Okay, how did you find them? How did you do that?
So I always say church pews. Well, okay, going back to how do they find them? Facebook Marketplace. So on Facebook Marketplace, you'll see church pews all over. You'll either pay for them or you get them for free. But there is labor when it comes to, it's not like they're just going to be on the side of the road. You have to go into the church, obviously with permission. You're talking to someone, and you have to dismantle them, disattach them from the floor. That's a pain in the ass. I think it's probably, I've done so many church pew salvage jobs, and it's a whole day process. And then getting a truck that's long enough to fit
then
on
you
the
have
pews.
to get them where you need them.
So usually what we actually do is we'll deconstruct them on site. So we'll take off the ends, we'll break them down so they're just like these long sheets. And then we bring them back to our shop. We put them through the saw because for the bench seat, it actually has a curve. So we cut them, run them through the mill to make them flat. And essentially we're just making flat stock lumber out of the pews. And then we glue it back up, and then we make our furniture. So it's very detailed.
Time intensive,
It's kind
right?
of intense. So I wouldn't recommend it to like the average person unless they actually had the tools, or they want to keep the curves. They kind of want to like actually it look like a church pew. Like, go for it.
Are you guys sourcing materials from across the city every week?
We get calls every week. So we have been doing this for the past decade, which is kind of crazy.
Congrats.
Thanks. And yeah, we have the reputation. So people are like, oh yeah, this church is coming down, or so-and-so is renovating the house. They have all of these doors. Like, they'll rather see it go to someone than it just go into the landfill. So I would say about every week we do have either new furniture, antiques that we have available to purchase in our warehouse, or it's material that like we'll keep and we'll like build furniture out of.
And you guys have your store in downtown Detroit.
In Hamtramck.
In Hamtramck?
Yeah. So we had a downtown location.
Okay.
So that was just like a temporary thing. But our main flagship is in Hamtramck on Joseph Campbell.
Exciting.
It's actually really cool if you haven't been. So we bought it in 2017. It's 24,000 square feet, which sounds wild. We bought it for like $300,000.
Wow.
Which is like, at that time, a 24,000 square foot building for that price.
Yeah.
You know, me and Kyle, my partner, you know, our brand was growing, and we also saw the opportunity to grow our manufacturing. And while we weren't quite ready for a building that size, we knew that we would grow into it, and we have, which is really great. So it used to be an old Dodge dealership. So it has like the ramp that the cars would go from the first floor to the second floor. But first floor is our showroom and our warehouse, which we're open Wednesdays through Sundays. So definitely pop by. And the second floor is where we actually manufacture all of our goods. And the one thing that's fun is the original spray booth where they used to paint the cars. That's actually where we spray all of our furniture. So we're still using that room, which is awesome.
We talked a bit about the trends.
Yes.
Always coming and going. What are the trends that you think we're going to be seeing a lot of going into the next year? And what do you think about them?
Ooh, okay. It's hard because I feel like I know, but I don't follow them. So
Yes.
I don't really know like what's really the trends. I do know that marble has been a hot topic.
I love marble.
Yeah, I actually recently on social media like did this whole like kind of reel of talking about marble and the pros and the cons and like the real expectations. I feel like marble,
I'm scared of it.
see, that's the thing.
Because
that's
if someone spilled wine on it, I'd be so upset.
if you left that wine for 2 weeks, yes, it will stain. If you left it there for 15 minutes, you're fine.
Really?
Yes. Should I go spill wine on my right now? No,
I just have
trust me.
heard some people tell me, because when we were doing our bathroom, I really wanted marble.
Yeah.
And we were looking at remnants and everything, and we were gonna go for it. And then a couple people told me, they're like, it's so porous, even if you seal it, trust me, like you have kids in there one day, like you're gonna have stains everywhere. You say that's not true.
Is this someone that actually has had marble in their home, or is it something that they just heard?
They did have marble in their bathroom at one time.
Yeah.
But I mean, you're the interior
sealed?
designer expert.
Well, yeah. So, okay, there's two things about marble. If your marble is not sealed, oh yeah, it's gonna stain. But if you actually think about it, marble, where do you commonly see it? Old libraries, old schools, Grand Central Station in New York, all marble, and it is gorgeous. I mean, go to Europe, marble everything. So marble is one of those materials that it only gets better with age, and it's so timeless. And so for someone to be like, oh my God, you have kids or it's gonna stain, it's like, for like our entire existence, we've been using the stone. So it's like, why are we so afraid? I think that it's also one of those things where you have to be comfortable to truly live your life. Like if you do get a little mark on your white marble, that should be a memory. It is part of like your journey of really living in your home.
I do love that.
Yeah. And so like, for instance, I just designed this kitchen inferno. It's really a full home. And I had sat down with my client and I was telling her about the pros and cons of marble. And that was her one concern. It's like, is it going to stain? I'm like, if it's sealed and you actually maintain it when it comes to wiping the grease away, I think you're going to be fine. I know you're going to be fine. But there will come a time where there might be something that there's a discoloration. Again, if you can sit with that, if you're fine with that and you're going to move on and not be super particular, then marble's for you. But I mean, some people are type A. If you're type A, go with an engineered stone. We're not going to hate you.
It's not as, to me though, it's not as beautiful or interesting. Like there are some great quartz, but there's something about marble. To me, it's art. It's gorgeous.
Yeah, there's no one slab that's the same.
Yeah, you really
Same,
could
but
convince
different.
me. This is very trendy of me, but I'm obsessed with the black and white marble that I feel like we're seeing a lot of right now.
Yeah.
I just think it's so, so pretty. And that was one of the things I was really hoping to eventually put in our kitchen, but I didn't know if I could keep up with it. Like, how often do you need to be resealing it?
You probably should, like, I don't know. I actually don't know.
I heard
Not
every 2
often.
years.
I don't, maybe, but
Okay.
not really. I don't think so.
We have AI to tell us about that.
We'll ask
figure it out.
ChatGPT. How often should I seal my marble?
exactly.
But like, I honestly don't think that you really have to seal. I think if you notice that it's getting dull or if it's being a little more stain prone, it's like, yeah.
Okay.
Ask ChatGPT.
Yeah.
But I
They'll tell
don't
us.
think it's not like a high maintenance.
And you
Yeah.
can find the most beautiful remnants. We went to a couple different yards to look at them,
Yeah.
and they're just so unique.
Oh, yeah, for sure. And I was going to say, if you are doing a kitchen renovation and you don't want to commit to doing a full marble space, think about like smaller areas. Like maybe you do your island. The
That's
island
what I
top
was
is
thinking,
marble.
just the island.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Best of both worlds.
That is actually a really good conversation piece as well, though. What are some other design myths that, as an interior designer, you hear people say frequently or customers ask about frequently? You can think about it.
I know. I feel design myths? What do you mean design myths?
So I would say a design myth would be marble, like that you shouldn't work with marble because it's
Okay.
going to stain. Is there anything else that you hear frequently that kind of like grinds your gears or you're trying to educate people on?
I mean, I think maybe open shelving. I think open shelving is one of those things where, again, your dishes might get a little greasy. You might have to dust here and there. But if you do love to showcase all of your beautiful things, then go with the open shelving. If you like to be able to reach, grab, and just move on with their life, get the open shelving. And I think a lot of people, think if they want open shelving, they have to commit to all open shelving. You can mix and match. You can have maybe one wall that has one shelving, but yeah, I think that's a common conversation of like, I love the look, but I'm afraid of the dust. Like, your house is going to be dusty. If there's dust on your shelf, there's dust on your countertops. There's dust on the floor. So it's one of those things where it's really just like there's general maintenance that you have to do throughout. And I think, I'm definitely one of those type of person where it's like I only have one life to live, and I hope it's a really long life. But until then, I'm going to make sure that I am doing what I love. And I'm filling my space with the things that I love.
I can tell that you're not afraid to like get messy or you don't need things to be perfect, which is very admirable. Something that I feel like you're catching the eye a lot of times, want things to be just a certain way, but I mean, it's just not as fun that way.
Yeah, I mean, you can have both. Yeah, trust me, I'm very particular on certain things, but I think when you're, it's funny. It's when you've been in this business and you start designing your space and having that mentality of, this is my space. This is not my neighbor's space. This is not my auntie's space. This is my space. I come home to this. I think your mindset changes because I know for me, I don't want to have the same environment as my friend. Like, and I think that's the same thing where I think a lot of us get kind of caught up into, following the trends and not being like our authentic selves.
Yeah, absolutely. I've noticed too, what's funny is as I've gotten older, honestly, just like in designing water your garden and designing our house and everything, I found myself being very attracted to the same colors and things that I was attracted to when I was like 9, 10, 11, when I wasn't really thinking about it. You know what I mean? Like obviously a little bit different. We're not throwing Hello Kitty on things in the house, but like the colors and everything are very much true to how I was when I was a child, which I think is really fun. I wondered if anyone else ever gets like that.
For sure. Well, yeah, I mean, again, it's just you're really kind of tuning into like your authentic self because back then you weren't conscious of all the things.
No.
And so now you're kind of just like, oh wait, I actually do love this. Why did I stop liking orange? It's because orange wasn't trendy, orange wasn't cool,
Yeah. I loved interior design too. Like every birthday, I spent all my birthday money redecorating the room, which is similar now. I asked for furniture for my birthday. Do you have anything, and it's okay if the answer is no, I'm just curious. Is there one design tip or something that you really like to do that whenever you're working with a house, you look for? It could be like, oh, I love open shelving. I always go towards that. Or I love implementing a lot of windows and natural light. I always work to do that. Is there something like that that you love?
Yeah, sconces. I love lighting.
Oh.
I feel lighting is one of those things where it can really make or break a space. I think for me, again, it's all about like the vibe. Like I would say my designs are very vibey, and I'm not just thinking about your home, in the daytime. I'm thinking about your home at the nighttime. Like when you're by yourself, with a partner, with some friends, and how do you feel? Like, it's just like the atmosphere. And I think it also comes back from like my car designer days, because it was always about the experience, and I translate that into interior. So, you will rarely come into my house and see any of the
The
main
big
lights.
lights.
But
Yeah.
if I do have them, they're dimmed and they're low. They're like
Yes.
maxed out to the very bottom. But there's one thing with sconces that it creates this like really ambient kind of shadow. And you see it when you go into like restaurants. You see it when you go to like a speakeasy, and it's a little sexy, it's a little moody. And again, I think it puts you in this like kind of relaxing like trance, where it's like the last thing you want to do is having a cocktail, with a girlfriend, and it's
With
just
the big light on.
right. Like,
Yeah.
I don't want to see, every single detail in your face. Like, I want
Yes.
to have a conversation and be so in tune in the conversation. And so, yeah, it's like, I'm going to add some sconces. I'm going to add some floor lamps. I'm going to add some table lamps. But I mean, you can see around my house, I have sconces probably
looking.
on every wall. And yeah,
That's such a good tip.
yeah,
We
it's
really need
great.
to implement that. Our office is one of the rooms where we haven't just honestly had the budget to invest yet. So there's no lamps or anything like that, just the big light. It's so bright at nighttime.
Oh, yeah.
I'm like, this is driving
I don't
me
want that for you.
crazy. I don't want that for me. Where would you say your advice for people looking for sconces? Where's your favorite place?
Ooh, so I know in my house, I personally love mixing new and old. And same thing with my clients. So for instance, in our living room, the sconces here are actually from Rejuvenation. They're kind of like my go-to.
I do like Rejuvenation.
I personally like these sconces because it's made out of recycled glass. So at nighttime, it has this like really, it's like an amber glow to it. So those are new. And then on the other side, I have these like white sconces, which I got those on First Dibs. And believe it or not, this was my First Dibs purchase. And I don't know if I'm like skeptical when it comes to buying vintage online. Don't be, because even though these came from the Netherlands, they came in like 2 weeks.
a lot
not
of lights
even.
I feel like are on from the Netherlands.
Yeah, so Europe has like some of the best designs because of just like the manufacturing history back there. And I think also when it comes to just design in general, I think they embrace the old like for a very long time.
Yeah.
Whereas here in the United States of America, we're just like, what's the newest thing?
Yes.
You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
these are my favorite. I have about 6 of them. I think I honestly might purchase more just in case, God forbid, anything happens. I have a backup because they're
Smart.
so unique. And I think for me, again, I can buy the Rejuvenation sconces unless I discontinue it. But these I have never seen before. And I think that's also another like tip when it comes to designing your spaces. Have you seen it before? Buy it, because one day you might just be like, damn, I really love that sconce.
Yeah.
I really love that glove chair. I should have just bought it when I had the opportunity. And I think that's what really makes your home unique.
This is not as sophisticated, but we went to one of your opening parties a couple weeks ago.
Oh, yeah.
And you had one of the products you had a popcorn bowl. Popcorn is my favorite snack. Like I love like with people alone, like my favorite thing really is
Yeah.
like a big bowl of popcorn and watching something like that to me is bliss. You had the cutest big bowl. It was like white, blue. It had something on it. I don't know if Connor remembers. It's something about it about like popcorn night and popcorn. And I saw it and I was like, oh my gosh, I want that so bad. No, we bought so much. I
And
shouldn't
you're
do
still
it.
thinking about it.
I am. I should have taken your advice.
I don't
If
even
you
know,
see it.
and I don't even know what you're talking about. So you know it's probably sold.
It's in like one of the little areas of your shop. I should
Okay.
stop by. But
Yeah.
it is a pro tip. I'm like, dang, I wish I would have bought that because that's so unique.
Yeah.
I'm not going to see that at a big box store. And I would have genuinely, like truly, I would have had joy every time I used that.
And especially since most likely that piece was vintage. Again, you'll probably never see it again. And then, yeah, when I go back to the showroom, I'll take a look.
Let me know because I'll be zooming by. I need that. I would love to know your advice on pictures. I love having a lot of pictures around my house and a lot of art as well. I feel like when I've looked up advice, I've always heard for the living room, for instance, not to put personal photos, but to put artwork for a more elevated look.
I've never heard that.
You haven't?
No.
What's your thought? I mean, I'm Googling it. I'm talking to ChatGPT. What's your
Yeah.
advice on that?
Okay, so I know my strengths, I know my weaknesses, and I can't lie. I feel like art is kind of one of those things that gets a little bit hard for me because the objects that I put into my house, I consider that as art. So I'm like untraditional in the sense of like the metal wood wall that is my feature wall. That's art to me. And
Yes.
as much as I kind of want to put something like in the very center, my partner is just like, we are never putting anything on this wall. That is the art. I also have metal signs and found objects that I'll just like quirky little things that I'll put up. But when it comes to like family photos versus abstract, I don't know. And I also honestly probably wouldn't follow who made that rule. It sounds like bullshit.
I don't know. I just
I'm
remember.
just like thinking like,
Yes.
I've never heard this before in my life.
I promise you, because I'm looking things up. This was about, I feel like when I had more time. Now with the podcast, to be honest, the house is really taking a back seat. But you're inspiring me. I'm ready to go out and spend. It was about a year ago because we have right now, eventually it will come down, but a very large white wall. And I was looking at ways to fill it, and I was thinking about a gallery wall versus a large piece of art. And I was looking at pictures, and then some interior designers. It was like a common thought.
Yeah.
We're saying that if you want a more elevated look in your home, to not have personal photos, but artwork in the living room. I've done a mix because I'm a big photo person.
Yeah.
Like, I love taking pictures.
I mean, okay, so I can see personal photos being in the hallway. Yeah, so I think stairwells, hallways, yeah.
Kitchen. I just put one in my
I
kitchen.
just say do whatever you want.
Yeah.
Yeah. So for instance, I had a friend who's a photographer. You probably can't see it, but they took a photo of Ginger.
I
our
did see
pot.
that, and I loved it.
And before I actually had some abstract glass that was in that space. And for me, I don't know. I had that. So this should be like your little homework assignment.
Love
so I
it.
had the piece of the picture from Ginger, and I had it in my hands, and I walked around the house. Where does this picture want to be? And it kind of, when it just feels right, it feels right. And it's like, cool, it's gonna go right here. I think maybe that's something that a lot of people need to try in a sense of trying really hard to make it fit, just being a little bit more carefree and just literally just holding it up and walking around and being like, what actually looks good? Does it look good with like the color palettes that are happening in a room? Is it a space that I'm going to walk by every day and want to look at that photo? Again, it all comes down to the experience. And yeah, sometimes I find myself actually like walking by this particular corner just to see that photo of Ginger. So maybe I should move it so it could be a little bit more easy accessible for me. So yeah, let me know how that goes.
I will. I like that
Yeah.
idea. I'll try that. And it's a beautiful picture of your dog, Ginger.
Aw,
It's
I
very
know.
cute.
She's so old.
Yeah. She doesn't seem like it. She seems full of energy to me.
No, she is. I need to stop saying she's old, but she kind of is.
She's young.
Yeah.
That brings me to framing.
Okay.
Also a hot topic. This is actually great. I'm just getting all my house advice. Framing can be so expensive.
Yeah. Like framing walls or framing art?
Framing art,
Okay.
framing pictures.
Like, what kind of framing are we talking about?
Framing art and pictures
Yeah.
in particular. What's your advice for that? What's your go-to?
So I'm also going to disclose that I have never had any art professionally framed. Never in my life.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
I know.
what
Is
do
that
you
crazy?
do?
I just don't.
Facebook Marketplace?
I just don't do it. I think the type of art that I gravitate to is found art that already has a frame
I
or it's an
see.
object, you know. Yeah, but when it comes to framing, there's a couple like local framing shops that I've heard of that when I do have the opportunity to frame, I'll probably just like buy a vintage frame and like kind of do it myself. So yeah, I wish I had more advice to give, but I don't have the
No,
experience.
I think that's good.
Yeah.
I just wondered, Facebook Marketplace or
Oh yeah, for sure. I mean, I think the biggest thing is Facebook Marketplace is really great. You just have to make sure that it's close by. I think,
Yes.
especially with me when I source for clients, it's like, cool, we have a budget that we're working with. And yeah, the dresser might be $150, but driving 2 hours
Yes.
and then renting a truck, you just have to make sure it's worth it. But yeah, of course, Marketplace is a great place to get frames. Also estate sales. I know the Indian Village
yes.
flea market neighborhood situation. I missed that. And I wish I had it marked in my calendar and I went because I do have a couple of design projects where I need, a collection of art. And from what I saw on Instagram, and I'm like, there was art everywhere. So I would say take advantage of like wherever you are located. Whenever there's like a flea market or a neighborhood vintage, whatever, check those out because you might find some really cool shit in your backyard.
See, once again, a pro tip.
Yeah.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
You run Woodward Throwbacks with your partner, Kyle.
Yes.
Talk to us about that. What is it like working with your partner, having a business together? How is that?
Oy. Oy. Oy.
Yeah. Enough said.
Yeah. It's, I think it's one of those things where if it doesn't kill you, it makes you stronger. And I think, the past 11 years that we've been together, honestly, it's like we've been in business for 14 years. Oh my God. How long have we been together?
I know, right? You lose
Too
track.
long. No. Yeah. No, it's one of those things where we're experiencing this wild journey together. And I think I'm really grateful that I do have him to navigate this business and life, honestly. But it is stressful. And I think the most important thing, and actually the best thing that we've done in the past, let's say 5 years, has been creating our own lanes, creating our own job descriptions. So instead of us, even though we're both co-owners, he's head of operations, I'm head of design. And so, when we come together, sometimes it's beautiful, sometimes it's shit.
Yes.
But for the majority of the time, we're in our own lanes. And I think it honestly has helped with our communication and just our organization where, again, it's like we're not stepping on each other's toes. Because the saying is true, too many chefs in the kitchen, it's not a vibe.
What is your advice to people who look up to you and would like to start a similar business, whatever that may be?
I would say what I do when it comes to design, of course, go for it. But when it comes to working with salvage, you really have to love it. I think that I've seen a lot of people get into the architectural salvage or the vintage selling business because they think that it's a flexible lifestyle, but it's a lot of work. It's very labor intensive. Going back to our cabinetry, it's not like, okay, we're just picking up material and, sanding it real quick and slapping it together. There's real strategic, and logical planning that's involved. And so I would say you can do it. Like you have the skill set around you when it comes to YouTube, talking to people in community. I mean, hit me up. I'll try to answer whatever questions you ask of me. But it really comes down to your mindset. Like, do you really want to pursue this? And how are you going to make it uniquely your own? Like, I wouldn't try to carbon copy my brand because if you do, I'm not going to lie, it's not going to work out for you. And I feel like in any type of business, if you want to do, just because you see someone, you're like, oh my God, they're crushing it. It's like you really don't really know what they're doing to be this successful or if they're even that successful. Because trust me, there's times where I'm like, oh my God, Kyle, we didn't make any money this month. And people outside are just like, oh my God, Woodward Throwbacks, they're crushing it. And it's like,
absolutely.
I just lost $10,000 last week because a shipment arrived broken or destroyed. Who's going to foot that bill? I am. And so, and of course, I always put my employees and my team first. So I'm the punching bag, I'm the sacrificial lamb. So yeah, I would say anything is possible, but you really have to be dedicated and believe in what you're doing and not just following the trend.
Yeah, absolutely. I was thinking about this earlier and I forgot to ask, have you ever gone to source a piece of material and just it run into a crazy story? Like you guys go all over the city sourcing materials. Have there ever been a time that you go to source something and you realize the building is actually not a building that you should be in or the material isn't the way that you thought? It's okay if you don't. I'm just curious. I would think that going into so many buildings, you would have interesting experiences.
Well, you know what? Believe it or not, it's like we're not going into buildings as much as we used to. Again, it's one of those things where we are such a big part of the community where a lot of material comes to us. And then, we were working with a lot of larger construction groups. So we worked with Chrisman Construction, who renovated the Book Tower. And so getting access to all of the white marble that they weren't using within the renovation, we're very thankful that it was already deconstructed, taken off the walls and in the hallway. And all we had to do was literally pick it up and put it in our trucks. So when it comes to actually boots on the ground salvaging, I feel like those are few far in between, which honestly, I'm so grateful for because I'm in my 30s. We started this company when we were in our early 20s and I'm tired. Salvaging is hard work. And I honestly love designing spaces and designing furniture. So not saying I prefer a desk job, but if I don't have to be, out and about in a building, I'll take it. But I would say, do I have any interesting stories?
No, it's fine if you don't. A lot of this is just my genuine curiosity. I imagine that if I were to try to do something like that, you would just run into interesting situations.
Yeah. I mean, this is not on a salvage shop, but me and my partner were biking, just exploring the city and got chased by a couple wild pack of dogs.
Oh,
so it's
there you go.
Yeah. I mean, it kind of goes back to the origin story of us biking around the city, exploring it because Detroit is so massive and everyone just thinks of downtown Detroit. You have all these amazing neighborhoods with rich architecture. And I think, honestly, with a city like this that's so culturally rich, you have to embrace it through and through, the good, the bad, the ugly. And I think also it's you just have to be aware, being aware of the economics and the landscape of Detroit. It's not perfect. And I think it really brings you down to earth when you kind of see some of these neighborhoods are in complete disrepair and the fact that people are still living in these neighborhoods. It's a bigger topic. It's a bigger issue when it comes to, the resurgence of Detroit. It's happening, but it's not happening everywhere. And so, we still explore different neighborhoods and we haven't been chased by dogs in a really long time, but that was just something that happened. And afterwards, we were just we're holy shit.
Fair.
But it was a fun day. It was a fun, nice little bike ride.
What does it mean to you to be taking pieces of the history of Detroit? You've worked with pieces from the Book Tower in Detroit, making them into something new and giving them new life into your home, someone's home. What does that mean to you?
I think it means everything. If I didn't love the city, and of course I'm not a Detroit native, so I can't even say I'm a Detroiter, even though I think I do get that credit because I've been here.
By this point, you've been here for a minute. You've had your business
2008, here. That's wild. I think for me, especially coming from, the East Coast, which is completely different lifestyle, I love the pride. I love the energy that Detroit has. And of course, you can just see it in the landscape and the architecture and the people that this city was built with no expense spared. And it's for me to be here and to feel that energy and to embrace the city. And I honestly feel like the city has definitely embraced me back with what we're doing. I just love being able to, I think my give back is saving these materials and building tangible objects that they can enjoy in their home. I'm the anti-glass box. And it just to kind of clarify, I love the fact that, for instance, a train station, which such an amazing renovation project. I lived in Corktown and I had a direct view of the Michigan Central train station.
Wow.
But when you go in there, they have a section where they have the relics and the history, and it's in a little glass box, which is perfect. But I feel like it's a missed opportunity to not have a product with the excess material that people can purchase and enjoy in their home. And so I think that's kind of how I see what we do, especially when it comes to a historic building. Why are we tossing all of this trim away? Why are we, throwing this marble away? Why can't we build it so Detroiters can actually have a piece of Detroit within their space, within their home? So that's my theory. I'm the anti-glass box. I'm I'm very textile. I'm very story driven. And I think that's what really makes a space and the city unique.
You've given me a lot to think about with our own home restoration. That's fantastic. The name of the show is Water Your Garden. You know, the precipice is that like every episode is a way to pour into yourself and water your own garden, whatever that may be. What do you do in your own life to water your garden? What is that for you?
I think for me, I think I've been prioritizing balance. I think that I am the type of person where I give a lot of myself to my friends, my family, my social media community, and also like my craft, like my passion, Woodward Throwbacks, and designing these spaces. And I think for me, sometimes I work myself so hard where I like make myself sick. And in order for my seeds, all the seeds that I've been planting, which is designing more interiors, you know, getting high profile clients, getting access to the most insane materials, you know, growing the brand where I can actually take a step back and just be the creative director and not really, you know, being pen to paper. In order for me to water those seeds, I have to take care of myself. And so whether it's going to Belle Isle or going to the gym every morning, like I wake up at like 5:30. I'm a psycho. And I've been going to the gym and I feel like I look the best that I've ever had. And I feel the best because of that. And I also feel that my voice is more clear. I feel I am my authentic self because I created that balance. And it's taken me a really long time to realize that that's what I need in order for all my seeds to grow. And I think they're growing right now.
Oh, yes.
So yeah,
Let me attest.
So that's my little like 2 cent take is create some type of routine that is for you and only you. You can share it with some of the people that you care about, but you can't go. You need to know when to stop.
I resonate with that a lot. A big part of all of this actually starting was me being at a point where I felt very drained and like I was having a hard time waking up, and creating a routine, like waking up earlier, working out, having the time for that was like a big part of me pouring into myself and figuring out that I wanted to create something to help other people figure out ways to pour into themselves. So I just think that's great. Yeah. Thank you. Okay, so lastly, how can people work with you, follow you, find you?
So our business, Woodward Throwbacks. So you can find us on Instagram, not so much on TikTok. I'm starting to get onto there.
TikTok's hard.
I know, TikTok's hard. I'm old. We also have a YouTube channel, Woodward Throwbacks. So we started making long form content, taking people on salvage jobs, this restoration project called Mystery on Mac, and our interior design projects. So I have 2 interior design projects that I've been taking our followers like kind of on the journey of, you know, from designing all the way to construction. And then, they can find us at our showroom, Woodward Throwbacks, 11500 Joseph Campbell, Hamtramck. And then we also have a website that has a decent amount of our antiques and vintage and custom furniture. But honestly, I always tell people, if you can get to our showroom, come by. There's so much more that we have to offer that's not represented on our website.
And we can work with you as an interior designer.
Oh, yeah. So I have my design portfolio and I have an intake form on our website. So again, you know, from virtual consultation to full service design. Tell me about your project. Make sure you have a budget.
And then reach out.
And then reach out to me. I mean, again, it's just like, I feel like when it comes to design, it's a collaborative effort. So as much information as you can give me, again, budget, how big your space is, how do you want it to function, you know, maybe some inspiration images, because like, let me understand who you are, you know, we can make it work. But it's a collaborative effort. So I'll put in as much work as you put in.
Fair. Yeah. Perfect. Bo, thanks for coming on the show.
Yeah, thanks for having me. This is fun.
Yeah, I can hear Ginger snoring in the background.
I know. See, she's
so
old.
That's a wrap.
That's like the old lady snore.
I don't know about you guys, but I am leaving this episode really wanting to go sconce and lamp shopping. And usually it's rugs that I'm hyper fixating on. Share this episode with someone who you love to talk about interior design with, or someone who you are always sending furniture links to. I'm thinking of someone right now. And please don't forget to hit subscribe so you can keep up with all of our episodes here on Water Your Garden. Next week is one for my skincare junkies. We are talking about all your burning skincare questions. Hopefully your skin is not burning. Thank you so much for taking the time to sit back or do some chores and water your metaphorical garden with me. Love you guys.